If you've been having problems with vertigo, then you have got to watch this video. First off, I'm Dr. Gregg with Align Wellness Center. I've been helping people remove the blockages from their health for the last 20 years to lead amazing, fantastic lives without drugs or surgery. So if you're in an episode right now, we're going to dive into something you can do. Then I'm going to talk with you about how this occurred, what you can do about it in the long term to prevent these episodes from occurring again. So if you've been in spins right now, okay, you want to wind up doing a maneuver that can help reduce those problems and symptoms. We've done a great one, and I'm going to put the link right up here at the top for you to go right to it. It's quick, it's less than 3 minutes, and it gets you winding up out of those spins super fast. So hop over there. If you like videos like this, give it a thumbs up, okay? If you like to find solutions naturally to wind up removing health conditions and understanding them better, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You see, I spend time every week sharing on a health condition, and then I share with you what it is, what you can do at home for it, and then how to manage it and what help you may need professionally. If you like that, subscribe. If you have a health condition you want to learn about or think that we can provide you some info on, feel free to write it in the comments. This video actually came from someone who reached out to us and asked, what do I do between the episodes of vertigo so that I don't wind up having more of them? And that's super important. That's almost as important as how to get out of the episode when it winds up occurring. You see, vertigo is really more of a description of an experience than actually a condition. So vertigo winds up being when you spin and the world spins around you. There's a variety of different kinds and a variety of different things that can cause it. We're going to go through here in a bit and talk about the 4 main factors that drive vertigo and cause it to happen. Then we're going to talk about the 3 influences that you have control over that can change it. We'll talk about 2 hidden tricks to wind up resolving it, and then the 1 thing that you need to do to help make sure the rest of your life is awesome. I know, it's like Christmas. 3, 2, 1. Stick around, we're going to go through a good bit of info. If you like this or you know someone who has had problems with vertigo in the past, please share this video with them so that they can have help and get the help that they need naturally and without drugs or without surgery. Now we're going to change spots for our next video. So I'm going to go over the 4 factors that influence balance or vertigo or the balance centers of your brain because they're super important to know and understand if you've had challenges with vertigo. You see, with this center, it's really in the very bottom part of your brain and your brain stem, and it's where the information goes to that helps to control balance or position in space. So there are 4 components that wind up feeding into that. The first one we think of all the time, and you've probably seen on a lot of videos, and that has to do with the semicircular canals in the ears or the crystals in your ears. Now, we showed you a video that can help with restoring balance to those crystals and help reduce an episode. However, it's typically not the episode that's the problem. It's been life up to this point and how it's affected the 3 other places that cause you to have reoccurring episodes of vertigo. So the next one that I'm going to talk about winds up being your eyes. When our eyes aren't processing properly, or they're off balance, or they're not set straight, the input into our brain and the balance center winds up being off. So having your eyes checked to make sure that they're working properly, important part of vestibular and vertigo health. The next one, it's a lot less thought of, but equally as important, and that has to do with your jaw. For some reason, the jaw nerve fibers get filtered in to the vestibular center and balance centers. Having a dentist on your team in your life, which most of us probably do, is important to make sure that the jaw is working properly, but they don't typically wind up doing much work to make sure that the feedback into this brain stem is properly. The last one is the most commonly overlooked and the most commonly missed, and that has to do with the cervical spine. You see, the bones throughout the neck wind up influencing the balance centers of the brain and can totally throw off your balance and cause you to get into vertigo spins very regularly. Making sure that your cervical spine and your neck is in the normal position is vital for this. We have helped thousands of people wind up helping to restore the proper position of their cervical spine, and it's been amazing how many of them have eliminated vertigo episodes for the rest of their lives. If you haven't had your spine looked at, and I don't mean looked at to determine if there is a fracture or a pathology, you need to have it looked at by a very specific group of people, and these are corrective chiropractors, to determine how far from normal your cervical spine may be. In most cases, they'll also look at your jaw to understand how your jaw is integrated into this balance center. If these are off and your other points are working, that's probably why you haven't been able to find answers, even though you've worked with your neurologist, your neurosurgeon, your physical therapists. Focusing and understanding these 4 components, vital and important to making sure that your vertigo goes away, stays away, and never comes back. Next up, we're going to talk about the 3 factors that can drive it and you have control over. So I'm going to go over the 3 factors that you have control over to influence how often and how severe your experience with vertigo winds up becoming. And it comes down to the 3 factors of stress that wind up coming into our lives. So we wind up experiencing lives, and stress can influence how we do. We can have good stresses and we can have bad stresses, right? A good stress might be like the marriage of kids, or being able to play with your family, or getting a good workout, or eating the right foods. And a bad stress might be, road rage, the person on the street that cuts you off, or eating a bunch of junk food. These stresses are going to determine how much problems you have and how much success you have in life and how you feel. You see, there's 3 types now. The first one is physical stresses, and this is the activities you've been in. And not just the activities you've been in today, but the activities you've been in throughout your entire life. You see, what most people don't realize is that running into the corner of a table that cut your head open when you were 2 years old, well, it cut your head and luckily they were able to sew it up. However, chances are it also affected and changed the structures in your spine. Nobody looked at that, but then maybe in high school or later on you got headaches or neck pain. Maybe in your mid-30s it was tough to move your neck, or you woke up and your head was stiff. These are warning signs that your spine is out of alignment and that your body's breaking down. The less of these that you have, the better your body works. The more of you have of these, the worse your body works. The less you pay attention to it, the more you just cover up symptoms and not take care of the cause of the problem, the more significant problems are going to show up. And why many people over 50 start to experience problems with vertigo, spinning, and dizziness issues. Additionally, physical stresses come in the way of movement and activity. So the exercise that you get, the workouts that you do, the way that you may sit at your desk, your ergonomics, how you wind up playing with your kids, traumas you've been in, crashes, sports that you've played. Those all play a role in where you are right now. Everything in your past physically winds up connecting to now, and everything you've done to support yourself physically can dictate that too. Making sure your spinal health is proper is super important to make sure that your brain can connect to your body as loud as can be. That's what a corrective chiropractor does. If you need help finding one, let me know. I know a good one. The second type of stress that we wind up running into winds up being chemical stresses. These are the foods that we put in our body, the water that we drink, the medication that we take. It even has to do with the supplements and nutrients that we take, the air that we breathe. All of these wind up contributing to taking us towards health or away from health. The cleaner we wind up living, the better we wind up putting food and nutrients in our body, the less drugs we wind up taking, the better our body is going to support us, the less likely we're going to have episodes of vertigo, and the better you're going to work. If you're curious as to what's the right chemicals to put in your body and nutrients and food, I've got a great video where I talked about this, and I'm going to have my team put a link to that right up in the top. The last one is emotional stresses. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is the world that I work in the least. Emotional stresses has to do with the relationships that you have with people, how you manage those relationships, and how you don't. It has to do with events in your life that affect you emotionally. For most people, I have a couple of tools for immediate events that can make you crazy. And the first one goes like this. When you're in that stressful situation, right, that road rage I mentioned, or that emotional fight with your kid or your significant other or your parent, take a deep breath. Winds up changing your state. You may have a totally different realization of what's going on and what the outcome should be. Can totally lower those stresses. Additionally, things like meditation, breathing exercises wind up being wonderful in helping to manage these emotional stresses, as well as talking and potentially therapy can be massively helpful for this. If you need help with them, feel free to write in the comments and I'll do my best to guide you to someone who I think is outstanding on. These 3 stresses our body can handle a certain amount of. However, when we get too much of a collective 3 or one individually, it'll cause us to start breaking down. When the vestibular centers or the balance centers of our body are the place that's breaking down, we wind up having more of the spins and more of the vertigos. So everything that you can do to wind up helping these centers and these three stresses to reduce so that you have what I call a buffer, the most buffer you can get, the better off you and your health and your life are gonna be. If you wanna learn how to create a better buffer, go ahead and write down in the comments and I'll give you a couple of tips and hints. If you'd like to reach out to me, feel free. Give our office a call. We've got a couple of virtual appointments we do sometimes that we may have available to hop on the phone or on Zoom to wind up connecting and learning about it. What I want to do now is give you 2 action items that can wind up influencing those 3 types of stresses to help you reduce the likelihood of having those vertigo episodes. First one we're going to do has to do with these things here, water. By the way, how it made the body, heals the body. Thanks, BJ. Powerful information, don't forget that. Has to do with water. For most of us, we've experienced what I call chronic dehydration. You see, we're about 75% water, and we need about half of our body weight in fluid ounces of water. So if we're not drinking that, and let's just say for 1 year, right? I'm 200 pounds, okay? So for 1 year, I only drank 50 fluid ounces of water a day. I'm 50% short every day on water. And I did that for 365 days. That's a lot of water that my body is depleted from. So it's no wonder that my body is stressed out or overwhelmed. Now, I've been spending the last 20 years to maintain proper hydration levels, but right now, it's harder than ever to maintain that. If you wind up being out and about at all, you've got masks on that wind up making it difficult to drink water. If you're in the house, you're kind of working hard and hard to get to water. But here's the key on how I wind up getting there. Every day I look to do it. If I'm not there, I look to add a glass of water a day for a week. And then the next week I add another glass. This way you're not in the bathroom all the time. But after a couple of weeks, you wind up getting the amount that you're supposed to. Then I look to use a water bottle that has a certain size. Mine is usually 33 fluid ounces. And I know that if I drink one of them before lunch, one of them between lunch and dinner, and then one of them after dinner, then I'm on track to have the 100 fluid ounces a day that I need. I'm going to encourage you to find a way like that. Now, if you're on a blood pressure medication or you have kidney problems, let's talk to your physician about that to make sure we figure out the plan and the strategy that's right for you to help your system stay hydrated and not have any side effects. The second actionable I want you to do is I want you to check out my playlist on sleep habits. Sleep is one of the ways that our body rests and rejuvenates. And for many people who have vertigo, that's where problems can really show up. Check out that playlist. There's so many tips and tools you can use to help get an amazing, great night's sleep. I'd love to get your feedback on that too. Next up, it's the one secret that we all need to know and what we need to do to live healthy and amazing lives for the entire life that we have. Okay, so I shared with you that I had one more tip that we all need to implement to wind up living amazing, fulfilling lives. And that is that you need to wake up every day and you need to think to yourself, how am I going to be one step healthier today than I was yesterday? What am I going to do that's going to make me one step healthier than yesterday? What am I going to do today to be healthier? And when we wake up with that in our headspace and our mind space, the whole entire day is going to be healthier. It's really amazing and interesting. For most people, when they wake up, it's like, good God, it's morning. And the day becomes more difficult as they go. However, when we wake up and we say to ourselves, I'm going to take great advantage of this day and I'm going to use it to be the best person I could be and as healthy as I can be, it winds up being amazing what the day can wind up turning into. So I want for you to grab onto that and to wind up doing that. Write down in the post some of the things you do today to wind up being healthier than yesterday. I'd really love to hear about them. Now, if you've had vertigo, I know it can be really challenging. There's really a variety of different ways that people try to solve answers, and for a lot of them, they can cause dead ends. Please use these steps, and if you have questions, write me, email me, call me. reach out to me. I'm happy to help out. If you like these tips and you think that they're good, give them a thumbs up. If you like the idea of getting solutions that you can do at home for health conditions, learning when you need to wind up seeing professional help and who the professional is you should see, feel free to subscribe to our channel. We're constantly coming up with more information like this. If you've got something you'd like to learn about, write it down in the comments. I'd love to hear about it and share with you on the next steps on what you should be doing related to that. Also, if you know someone who's been suffering from vertigo, let's make sure they get this video so that they can start taking the steps to living a healthy, amazing, fulfilling life. Once again, my name is Dr. Gregg Gerstin. I want to thank you for letting me be a part of your health.